What if I told you that the next update for Manor Lords is set to change the way you manage your regions, develop your economy and defend your lands? From new buildings and upgrades to expanded militia options, the upcoming update is shaping up to be a game changer. Stick around as we dive into everything we know so far. Hello everyone, I am the Halfwit Brit, and today we're delving into all the news that I could find about the next Manor Lords patch. So if you're as excited as me about the game, or you've just been patiently or impatiently waiting for the next update, I think you're in for a bit of a treat. For those of you that have not picked up the game and it sounds like something that would interest you, you can pick it up on Steam, Epic, GOG and PC Game Pass. For those poor people on console, as always, you have to wait a little bit longer, but apparently it is in development. And now onto the reason why you came here, the next update for Manor Lords. So the information I'm about to share comes from three sources: the official Manor Lords X account, or Twitter if you still wish to call it that, the official Discord server for Manor Lords, and the latest Steam community post, which at time of recording was probably about 2 to 3 weeks ago now. I've gone through all of these so you don't have to, and I'm here to bring you what I believe is the most relevant information. So before we dive in, a quick word of caution. All the information that I've gathered from X, or Twitter if you wish to call it that, Discord and the latest Steam community post, there is always a chance that everything I'm talking about today will change. Some things will get pushed back, some things will get cancelled. So first off, let's start with the official Discord server and what information we've managed to gather from there. So the first poll we're going to take a look at was posted all the way back at the beginning of June, and it's regards to logistics, and this one's close to my heart because I do get frustrated. Between trade and marketplaces, there's just two things in this game that either I don't understand correctly, or the game's just not as efficient as it should be. Probably a combination of both, to be fair. So the example the developer gives here is, if I have 1000 firewood in my region, why are my marketplaces saying they don't have enough? And it's a fair question. You'd think, well, I have it, so why are they not loading it up? Now, there was 4 options, and I'll leave them on the screen, you can read them if you wish, but one of them, the last option, got over 20,000 votes. The other 3 got less than 2,000 each. So yes, I think we know which way this may turn out in the patch, should it make it in, and that is to keep the game exactly the same, but just make the market stalls in this case fill more efficiently, and I guess that makes sense. So the next poll that we're going to take a look at was posted near the beginning of June as well, and the dev asked, what's the most intuitive place to store crops like flax and barley? So I guess we're separating the crops here that are edible and the ones that are not edible, albeit barley does get turned into ale, but I guess it's not food. And you can see the 3 options here, and roughly 60% of the votes have gone to add a whole new storage space, in this case a barn. I'm kind of happy with that. I think that makes a little bit of sense. The warehouse currently does get overwhelmed, if you ask me. You end up putting a lot more in, but I guess if you have a barn, that's just more people that you need to kind of run that as well. But I'm more than happy for that. It gives you an option. Maybe having an option to still store those items in a normal storehouse would be nice, having a little toggle to do that. But either way, I'm kind of happy with this because, as I just said, the storehouses do get overwhelmed pretty quickly. So the third of 4 polls, the developer asked, should all buildings be visible from the start even if they are locked? So currently, for example, you can see the apiary. You can't build it unless you put a development point in, but it is there, it's visible. And that's not bothered me, it's quite clear. You can see that you need to invest a development point to use it, but I can see where the developer's coming from with this one. It may confuse some people. The vote is quite split as well, so I'm sat on the fence with this one, and clearly the rest of the community is, but the winner was, yes, I want to see what's there so I can plan, basically. And I guess that makes a little bit of sense. And then the other option is add a toggle. So that's where it was split. So I guess if you don't want to see them, you have an option to turn them off. And the last but not least poll, and this is the one that really got me scratching my head. So the developer asked, display food spoilage rates as. And I'm like, food spoilage? Wait a minute. We don't have food spoilage. So this is a whole new mechanic that the developer's looking at putting in. One that's probably going to cause a lot of pain in some ways, but it also adds to the challenge. I will venture a guess, seeing as the game has lots of options before you start, you could possibly turn this off or tone it down a little bit, but I think it's actually needed. Because if I just think about now in my series, so in the Black Forest, which is mainly a farming community, I have ridiculous amounts of bread. I think it's like 7,000 loaves or something like that. I'm never going to run out. But if the bread was going to actually decay, then actually I'd probably rethink my plan completely on how I deal with this. So the winner of this poll with 65% of the votes is a number of percent I need to know what exactly is happening, and I am in agreement with this totally. If your food is going to spoil and then disappear, you need to know what's going on so you can fix it. I am a little bit concerned with how the game may handle the goods, so I'd like to think the game would serve the goods that have less shelf life to the villagers first, but I'm not sure if the game works that way currently. It's very hard to tell because we currently don't have spoilage in the game. But if the game just randomly gives whatever food to the markets to then give to the villagers, irrelevant of how much life is left on that food, then it could be a bit of a problem. So it'll be interesting to see how this one works. So now let's take a look at the official X account of Manor Lords, which I believe is owned and managed by Greg, the developer himself. So the first thing that we're going to do is address the elephant in the room. Where are all the patches and where are all the updates for the game? Because there's been nothing for a little while. There's been no bug fixes, nothing at all. And it's quite a simple one. The developer has basically decided to port the game from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. Now this future-proofs the game. It also means that the developer can get support from the Unreal team. So I understand completely why he's done it. However, it's not always as simple as things seem, and this transition has introduced a lot of bugs and broke various parts of the game. And next we're moving on to one that I'm probably the most excited about, and that is the introduction of ponds. Specifically, fishing ponds. So yes, we can fish, and that means we have a new source of food. There is a little bit of a caveat to that. Apparently the ponds will freeze in the winter, which will stop you being able to fish. However, there's always a chance that there'll be an upgrade for the building potentially, or maybe even a development point associated with it. And on to the next one, a trade summary screen will be added. So what will this do? Well, it will allow you to track your imports and exports for each region. So you'll be able to see the date of the transaction, the item, the quantity, the amount of money exchanged, and where the items were traded to and from. This is really good, because you have no idea of what is going on and when. There's still a lack of control as far as trades are concerned, if you ask me, but at least being able to see what is going on is something. It's an improvement. Personally for me, I still feel like the pack station is the best way of getting something from A to B, so I'm not sure if there will be any other kind of changes to how trades work. But at the moment, there's a whole system there that I think needs to be looked at, but definitely a little bit more information that we can see is always a good thing. And our next stop is the butcher's shop. So if fishing ponds is the thing I'm most excited about, this is definitely a close second. It appears that it's a burgage plot upgrade. I'm going to venture a guess it will be for level 2 plots and above, because all the other artisan buildings seem to work that way, so I guess it makes sense. It is confirmed as well that sheep can be butchered for meat and hides, but there's no word on whether goats or other animals will be included as of yet. And next we have new player portraits and symbols for the coat of arms creator, so this adds a little bit more customization when you're first starting the game. Personally, not super excited about this one. I feel like this is more for consoles when that gets released down the line, but definitely something else that's been added to the game nonetheless. And next we have new militia units, specifically crossbowmen. Now I love archers in this game, so crossbowmen are probably right up my street. I can imagine they're quite slow firing but quite powerful, so it'll be interesting to see how this changes the dynamic of the fights. Now obviously if we have them, there's nothing stopping the Baron having them, and potentially even any of the raiders, so it could make things a little bit easier in some ways and a little bit more difficult in others. And finally, now I think this goes without saying, but the new update will be released as a beta branch before the full release. This just makes sense. So there isn't a timeline, but it's expected to be available in a couple of weeks. Now, I'm pretty sure that was a couple of weeks ago when I looked at this last, so it could be any day now, it could be even further. There's nothing else been said, so I'm going to venture a guess it is imminent. So our experience the next time we load the game up once this patch is live, I think should be a good one. There's always the chance that there'll be a couple of niggling bugs, obviously. But I guess, with the way that he deals with bugs, I think, it won't be a bug that lasts too long. But as I've already said, nothing is final until those patch notes drop. So I guess we got to keep our expectations in check a little bit and just be ready for some surprises, hopefully. And as much as I feel like a sellout every time I say this, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and give it a share to anyone that you know that loves Manor Lords. Don't forget to leave a comment, because I'd really like to know what you're excited about in the upcoming update and other features that you'd like to see. But until next time, take care.